In our spending recommendations, Mr. Speaker, we have taken the advice of Amanda Mzulwini, and I quote, "I think that you should spend money on things that matter, like improving healthcare, building more schools in the rural areas, and building clinics," close schools. And so, as far as job creation is concerned, which is a central priority of government, an additional 4.8 billion rands over the 2012 period is provided for the expanded public works program, bringing its allocation to a total of 77.8 billion rands. The community work program receives an additional 3.5 billion rands with a total of 6.2 billion rands, enabling the number of people employed to increase from 332,000 or increase to 332,000 in 2014-15 from 90,000 in March 2011. We will continue to increase allocations to this program over time. Working for water and working for fire receive an additional 1.1 billion rands with a total of 7.7 billion rands, providing a total of 135,000 jobs over the medium term. The non-state sector program receives an additional 345 million with a total of 1.1 billion rands. The National Rural Youth Service Corps receives an additional 200 million rands with a total of now 900 million rands over the next 3 years. 300 million rands is added to the arts and culture sector for job creation. Education. Spending on education will grow from 207 billion in 2012-13 to 236 billion in 2014-15. Additional allocations of 18.8 billion over the medium term are accommodated, including equalization of learner subsidies for no-fee schools and expanded access to grade R. An amount of 235 million is added to the baseline of the National Department over the next 3 years to extend the national assessment system. An additional 850 million rands is allocated to improve university infrastructure, including student accommodation facilities, Mr. Nzimande. Health and social protection. Medium-term priorities in health spending include hospital infrastructure, the comprehensive HIV and AIDS treatment and prevention program, and expanding health professional training. Progress in these areas will strengthen the public health system, paving the way for the introduction of national health insurance. The health sector is allocated an additional 12.3 billion over the next 3 years. 1 billion is allocated for the national health insurance pilot projects, increasing primary health care visits. To improve health infrastructure, 450 million rands has been provided to upgrade about 30 nursing colleges. A further 426 million is allocated for the initial work on rebuilding 5 major tertiary hospitals. To accommodate provision of antiretroviral treatment at the CD4 threshold of 350, an additional almost 1 billion rands is made available for the medium term. Social welfare priorities include early childhood development programs and the Isibindi Child Care and Protection Program. These are initiatives which have strong community-based employment benefits, and they are allocated an additional 1.4 billion rands over the MTEF. Expenditure on social grants will grow from 105 billion rands in 12-13 to 122 billion rands in 14-15. At present, nearly 16 million South Africans receive social grants. With effect from April, the monthly state old age pension and the disability care and care dependency grants will rise by 60 rands a month to 1,200 or 1,220 for pensioners over the age of 75. Foster care grants will increase by 30 rands to 770, and the child support grant will increase to 280 rands. We are mindful that these increases may need to be reassessed if inflation continues to rise. In respect of transport, energy, and communications, the budget provides for an increase from 84 billion rands in 12-13 to 98 billion rands in 14-15, rising by an annual average of 8.4%. A devolution of public transport services to metropolitan municipalities will be phased in over the period ahead. allowing for better integrated public service transport networks, including rail and bus rapid transit systems. An additional 4 billion rands is allocated to the Passenger Rail Agency of South Africa to begin purchasing new coaches. The agency also receives 1 billion rands to build 3 depots and upgrade signalling in Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, and the Western Cape. Centec will receive funding over the MTEF period for the dual illumination of analog and digital television and for digital broadcasting infrastructure. In energy, the focus is on demand-side management to address the impact of limited supply until new generation capacity comes online. An additional 4.7 billion rands is allocated to complete the installation of 1 million solar water geysers. 600 million rands goes to municipalities to install low-energy lighting equipment, and 300 million rands is provided for the electrification of informal settlements. Human settlements and community amenities, investment in municipal infrastructure and human settlements will grow from 120 billion in 12-13 to 139 billion in 14-15. Additional allocations of almost 10 billion rands over the medium term are proposed, including informal settlement upgrading, a wastewater treatment plant in Seribeng, bulk water systems in Sekhukhune, and water systems in the OR Tambo district. Financial support for housing development is expanded over the period ahead. Additional funding is allocated for the finance-linked individual subsidy program, and further capitalization of our housing finance institutions is proposed. A mortgage support facility is under consideration. As far as economic services and environmental protection is concerned, additional allocations of 15.8 billion rands are provided over the MTEF for economic services and environmental protection. The Department of Trade and Industry receives the bulk of this funding, 5.8 billion rands for the Manufacturing Competitiveness Enhancement Program, 2.3 billion rands for industrial development and special economic zones. Additional funds go to sandparks for tourism infrastructure and to the National Meteorology Institute for equipment. An additional 1.9 billion rands goes to the Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries to improve agricultural support services. The Land Bank receives 1 billion rands to conclude its recapitalization. 150 million rands is made available for provincial and municipal agricultural colleges. The Department of Rural Development and Land Reform has prioritized the settlement of 4,000 restitution claims over this forthcoming MTEF period. Total expenditure on science and technology increases over the MTEF period to 12.1 billion rands in 2014-15. Additional funding is proposed for the Agricultural Research Council, for vaccines research and support for extension services, and for Science Council initiatives in support of industry and mining development. The Department of Home Affairs receives additional funding for an integrated information technology system and upgrading border post infrastructure and housing. An amount of 350 million rands is earmarked for transfer to Alex Corps for the finalization of obligations to the Richtersveld Community Joint Venture. Defense, public order and safety, Madam. Spending on defense, public order and safety has increased by 9.7% a year, from 2008-09 to 11-12, and will grow from 140 billion in 12-13 to 158 billion in 14-15. The sector receives an additional funding of 7.6 billion rands over the MTEF period to cater mainly for improved conditions of service, additional personnel, and infrastructure. Additional funding of 300 million rands is allocated for court infrastructure, including new high courts in Polokwane and Nelspruit. The Office of Public Protector and the Independent Police Investigative Directorate are allocated additional funds to expand their important capacity. Funds are provided to the Defence Force to increase personnel deployment to border protection. The budget includes 700 million rands in 12-13 to capitalize Denel Aerostructures, hopefully for the last time.